So how much worse can it get, and what can the consumer do to cope with the brave new world of airline travel? Dr. Audrey Gusky is an associate professor of marketing at Duquesne University's School of Business. Dr. Merrick Masters is a professor of business administration at the University of Pittsburgh's Katz Graduate School of Business. Welcome back to both of you, two of our favorite guests. I know we have you on a lot.
Thank you, John.
Boy, you know, this is kind of a gripe session because I've flown a lot recently, and others in this business fly a lot, and you can't help but notice the real changes. And in fact, a Wall Street Journal article just out this past week, airline satisfaction at a 3-year low. It's not a fun experience, Audrey.
No, unfortunately, it's not, John. What we found is University of Michigan did a study, and also J.D. Powers, and the satisfaction level for travelers, for passengers, airline passengers, is significantly lower than it's ever been, and not that it was ever high before. But you've got people, it's at the lowest of the low in U.S. Air, being at the bottom of the bunch. And so what that means is we're not alone. We're complaining about the service that we're receiving from the different people from the airline. We're concerned about the baggage. We're concerned about the high prices. So all around. So what's going to happen? People are going to be traveling less as far as airline, which means prices are going to continue to escalate and satisfaction levels are going to continue to be worse.
Merrick, you studied the airline industry, and you know, on some levels you can say it's not really their fault. They do have much higher charges these days because of the high cost of airline fuel.
Absolutely. The cost of fuel has gone up 84% in the past year, 50% since January. It is now 50% of the operating costs of airlines. Airlines are projected to lose in the U.S., just in the U.S., $10 billion this year after recovering in 2006 and 2007. Several are on the precipice of bankruptcy. So they're looking for ways to get out of this situation, and one of the ways they look at is increasing fees. There's a limit to which they can do that. The next step is cut back on capacity and cut back staff, and that leads to the kinds of situations that we just saw at Pittsburgh Airport.
Yeah, that's part of the problem, is that all these cutbacks, it's one thing to nickel and dime on fees, and they're certainly doing that. I mean, everybody's waiting for the day they charge us to use the restrooms on the planes. It seems like everything else is a charge now. Audrey, is there a consumer reaction to this yet?
Oh, absolutely. But what can we do? We feel we're helpless. You know, if we need to travel, we need to travel far. We're stuck with the airlines. We're stuck paying the high prices, and we're stuck, in a sense, either being on an airplane or stuck in the airport. 20% of all travel time now is waiting needlessly. And so consumers, we could get up and revolt, and, you know, but in a sense, where is it going to take us? Because the industry really has us up in the air.
Well, if the industry has us like that, then really they're free to do whatever they want to us, right, Merrick? And I mean, there must be a point where people will say, I'm not going to fly anymore.
I think that's true. Many people, for economic reasons, will not fly. And flying has become more of a general public option than it used to be prior to deregulation. So many people fly when they really don't need to fly for business reasons like they used to. But let's put this into a little bit of perspective. A lot of things that people don't like about the flying experience is beyond the control of the airlines. They don't like the security, and that's government regulated. They also don't like the flight delays, and a lot of that is due to the fact that we have an antiquated air traffic control system. So until we address those kinds of things, the flying experience is not going to be what we would like it to be.
We only have about a minute left, and I wanted to sort of ask you to put on your crystal ball and prognosticate. Is it going to get much worse before it gets better, Audrey?
I think it is going to get worse. Less people are going to be flying. Prices are going to continue to escalate, particularly because of the fuel prices. As consumers, what are we going to do? We're going to have to find alternatives. Companies now are having conference calls, so people aren't traveling business-wise as much. Families are more into driving to their destinations this summer.
Merrick, same pessimism there from you?
Maybe not quite so. It depends on the price of oil. If we're able to stabilize that, I think things might get a little bit better. But the real key is whether or not we can identify alternative ways of fueling these aircraft.
Merrick Masters, always a pleasure. Audrey Gusky, a great pleasure to have you on, too. Thank you so much to both of you for coming.
My pleasure.
This is a subject that's not going to go away. We'll be back with more.